Hello, and welcome to the last two non-reviews of my free time. Because next month, I'm actually going back to college again, and I have a feeling that I'll have much more work this semester around, or this term around than I did last time anyway. Doesn't mean I won't be doing as much stuff. Well, yeah, it does. Just, not at the weekly schedule. Unless, like, by some miracle I don't get as much work as I thought I would, but it's not like it matters. I'm going to be at a faraway campus for, geez, I forgot how long I signed up for. Way too long, though. Anyway, this is the non-review for Digimon World 4, which will be great, hopefully. Anyway, Digimon World 4 it's a really cool game, I mean, out of all the four Digimon Worlds, I think I've said this before, this is probably my favorite one. And it's the easiest one to get into. I mean, the most complex thing out of this whole game, I'll say it now, is just the setting up your character. All the weapons and upgrading your techniques. That's it. Other than that, pretty simple game. So, for everything else, just enjoy the non-review as I run through my favorite dungeon in the game, the Doom Base. Digimon World 4 is the fourth installment in the Digimon World series. And just like with the last three games, it is in no way related to them. Like, the story doesn't continue from any of them, and the gameplay is not like any of them. All four of these games have been different. They've been pet raising, dungeon crawling, and Pokemon-ishing, Digimon World 3. At least that's what I imagine it to. Anyway, this game is yet another different genre. It's a hack and slash, where you control a character from, like, maybe a top-down kind of side-ish perspective, and you use multitude of weapons to basically just slash through countless enemies over and over again throughout the game. It is in fact based off of the Digimon X Evolution movie, which is a Japanese Digimon computer animated movie, which I've seen twice, and it's pretty good. Of course, the story actually doesn't seem to follow too much of the movie. It uses some references from it. For example, it has a multitude of X-Virus Digimon that are playable, and it does reference the X-Virus. Of course, whereas in the movie the main conflict was against the Royal Knights and the supercomputer Yggdrasil, here the main conflict is against the X-Virus origin, Mecha Rogue X. So while they do use some instances and some pieces from the movie, it's not really like an exact, you're playing the movie game. Anyway, the story deals with your character being a recruit to the DSG, which is the Digital Security Guards. They protect the Digimon world against any threats. And your character is enlisted to go look for Leomon, because he went missing. They lost communications with him. He was sent into the Doom server to figure out what was happening, what was going on with what will become known as the X-Virus. And so you're dispatched into the first area of this new server, which is Death Valley. And it pretty much plays out from there as you chase down the Mecha Rogues and find out what their plan is and where they're originating from. Which takes you through 3 more worlds following Death Valley. That's Dryland, the Desert World, Venom Jungle, the Swamp World, and then the Machine Pit, technologically advanced world. From the start of the game, you can select 4 different characters from the different seasons of the show. You can either play as Agumon, who is a blunt specialist, he uses axes. Vmon, who's a slash specialist, he uses swords. And then there's Guilmon, he's a stab specialist, he uses daggers. And lastly, we rounded out with Dorumon, who's a bash specialist, and he uses katanas. Now, that's their main weapons. Like, every single Digimon in this game, all 16, are specialists in something. They specialize in a certain type of weapon, be it a sword, a gun, or an arm, which is the crush weapon. And they do the best with that weapon. It upgrades quicker than any other weapon that you can teach them. Of course, that doesn't mean that you can only teach them that one. There are at least 6 different types of weapons. There's the blunt, crush, slash, stab, shot, and bash. And they're all different weapons, and they all really look different. They're all different regarding how strong they are, and the rate at which you can attack with them, such as blunt weapons and crush weapons are much slower than, say, stab weapons and slash weapons. So you can train your Digimon in as many of them as you want. I have my Doremon training on 3 different techniques, while my other Digimon only training on 2. You can do whatever you want. And in addition to the weapons, you've also got magic techniques. Usually all your characters start with just one that they pick up, and it varies. Most of the rookies that you can start the game with always come with a blast technique, which is like Petty Fire or Petty Ice, where basically they shoot out like a fireball or an ice shell, just one. And as you play through the game and you use the spells more and more, you learn 2 more from leveling up. And then the last 3 techniques you learn from upgrading your MP techniques. Blast techniques are what I talked about, like the fireballs or the ice shells. And as they upgrade, you're able to shoot out more at once. Then there's the force techniques, which affect either you or your allies or your enemies' stats. You could be like Bind, where it stops the enemies from moving, or Power Up, where it powers you up and any allies that are standing close by. And lastly, there's Heal, which is pretty obvious. It heals you or your allies depending on what it is. It could be Raise, which picks them up after they die, or just plain old Cure, which heals HP. Upgrading these was actually pretty hard for me because I didn't focus too much on it, because they seem kind of useless. I only use Bind and Heal a lot. I saw no reason to use Petty Ice with my Doremon because it did so little damage, but I actually decided to just learn the other techniques, and it's definitely worth it, worth your time to bother with them and upgrade them all the way to Infinite, because they each have different steps. They all upgrade at least intervals of like 300-ish. From Petty to Mega to Giga to Terra, and then finally to Infinite. And the MP cost goes up too, so you know, you have to keep an eye on your MP all the time. You don't want to be spamming your best techniques and then have nothing left to attack the enemy with, because they become really useful. So that's pretty much like the technical aspect. The weapons really take a while for you to get used to because they all have different levels at which you can equip them. You start out the game with 1 in every single tech, and there's at least 1 weapon in every single tech that always takes just 1 technique to use. The 4 characters come with a specific weapon that only they can handle, like the Bash Katana, the Slash Sword, the Blunt Axe, or the Stab Dagger. Those are 4 unique weapons that come with either Agumon, Veemon, or Guilmon that you can equip with them right away and start training. They all come with a Shot and a Crush special weapon called the Shot Pistol or the Crush Arm, but anything else that you want to train them with you have to find. And your tech will go up a certain number of tech points every level. There comes a point when the tech points only go up 20. For example, if you cap out at 500 and you level up, you can only move your tech up to 520, and then 540 with the next level. And eventually they slow down to just going 10, which gets really annoying if you're trying to upgrade your weapon, because you're going to have to level up a lot of times to get to the next ones. Because there are weapons out there with like 2,800 tech that you need, and that'll take forever to get to. So setting up your weapons and learning your magic, you know, those are really the main parts of the gameplay, aside from running around and slashing and killing a multitude of enemies. Now, what makes this game more fun in general is that you can have 4 people playing at the same time. You can either do this by starting the game together, or when you're in the main hub, you just go to the Call Keeper. And if you have another controller plugged in, someone else can join you, you know, drop in. And then when you're saving, they can leave if they don't want to play anymore, drop out. So it's pretty, you know, it's really good to that, because the more people that are playing, the more enemies will appear when you're going through dungeons or just the maps in the areas. Of course, the EXP kind of decreases. Like, if you kill something by yourself, you get 10, but if you're playing with 2 or 3 other people, you'll get 80 XP. Now, the reason they do this is because apparently more monsters appear, so you can get more EXP. There's really no difference. Of course, in multiplayer mode, if you kill something and get 80 XP, the other 2, 3 partners, however many you have, will only get 4. So, you know, it kind of balances itself out with all of that. I mean, I would have preferred if you killed something, you get all the EXP, but, you know, if you did that, you could just take someone who's really weak to very hard difficulty and have them level up like crazy. Which is another thing, when you complete the story mode on normal, you get the hard difficulty. And then you do it again, you get the very hard difficulty. Which is where I'm on at the moment, and it is very hard. Major thing you have to realize is that Digivolutions are stronger than your rookies. It should be pretty obvious at first. So when you get to very hard, it'll be, you know, easier on you if you decide to train a Digivolution to go through very hard instead of the rookie you've been using up to now. Because I managed to complete normal and hard with my rookie. Now, of course, it can get a little annoying, but all you really need to do is train your Digivolution to maybe level 10, and then take them into hard mode, and they can handle themselves pretty well if you watch them, and you can level up like crazy, which is a really good thing. The maximum level in this game is 999, and from what I've heard about on certain forums for the game, is that getting there will take forever. And in the end, you don't really need to level up to 999. You can level up your text individually with data, which is this blue orb type item that enemies drop sometimes. You can either get 5, 20, or 100, and you can use it to increase your stats at the data keeper in the main hub. So the game does get more challenging as it goes along. And you know, the whole tech increasing aspect and the weapon changing makes it really technical. And you spend a lot of time, especially if there's 4 of you, in the hub getting ready to go out, because you want to make sure you have enough stuff to pick up an item that you think you might need, a better version of your current weapon, because they have the beta, gamma, alpha, epsilon, all the different little symbols after the weapons, and the later in the Greek alphabet they are, the stronger and better. And their colors as well. For example, a green alpha is obviously much stronger than a white alpha, because the text for the weapon starts as white, and you can find blue, green, yellow, red, and apparently a type of pinkish purplish color at the end of the game. All that aside, you're only giving 16 Digimon to play as, and all the rookies can attain them all in different ways. Some easier than others, in certain circumstances, of course. The only Digimon to my knowledge that are the same for everyone to get are Black War Greymon and one of the Imperial Dramons, I believe. Because you need to clear a certain dungeon with your Digimon, and you'll be awarded that Digivolution at the end. Now, you get quite a lot of Digivolutions, and they're all pretty cool. You have a Hercules Kabuterimon, Weregarurumon, War Greymon, Black War Greymon, Beelzemon, Clavis Angemon. They're all X-Digimon, so they're all the X versions of the Digimon that you know and love. So don't be surprised if you get Black War Greymon. He looks a little different. He resembles the Black War Greymon more from the Evolution X movie than the actual Black War Greymon from the series. He doesn't have the gigantic wings on his back, and he doesn't have the Draymond claws on his arm. So that pretty much covers everything. The story of the game, the playable Digimon, to some effect anyway, the gameplay, and of course how hard the game is. It does get consistently harder, and it's a lot of fun. And I mean, if you have fun playing the game by yourself, you'll really, really have a lot of fun playing it with other people. Of course, like, I made the mistake where everyone's kind of this level, like we all have a very big gaps in what levels we are, so you know, that doesn't help in the end. If you're really far in the game and you need help from someone, you're obviously going to want help from someone who's closer to your level than someone who's much slower, and they actually won't do anything except give you more enemies to struggle through. So the game's all good, and it's, in my opinion, the best of the Digimon World series. Out of the other 3, the only other one that I can say is really awesome would probably be 2, because it has the largest number of playable Digimon, and 3, because, well, you know, I mean, aside from random encounters, I actually think that's a decent game. Anyway, So that's all. Dijon World 4 definitely passes as an extremely fun game for 4 people. It's one of the few games that I could think of today that 4 people can have fun playing, and playing through the main campaign rather than just a 4-player multiplayer. Hope you enjoyed that non-review. I had fun with it because I really do like this game, and it's a really good one. It's one that's actually come back since, there was a point where I just stopped playing it. Happens with all my games, but eventually I just pick them up and say, you know what, let me just try the game again. And I put it in there and then I get attached to it and I start playing it again for a long time. I'm planning on getting a signature weapon in this game soon for one of my Digivolutions, Black War Greymon or Alphamon. I'm not sure yet which one. Those two really suck. Anyway, and for the last non-review of my free time, I've gone back to what would have been the first non-review that I would ever have done, and that's Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. One last thing I want to add on is something that I've heard from 2 very reliable news sources and from the main source itself. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are fans of Mega Man already know what I'm going to say. And they don't really need me to reinforce it, because between the other people who've already said it, there are tons of people who already know about it. But in case anyone hasn't heard, Mega Man Legends 3 was cancelled recently. And I remember that I'm pretty sure I said that I only finished Mega Man Legends 2 recently. And of course that doesn't apply now because it's been like a few months since I finished it originally. But I was really disappointed because to me the reason that they canceled the game didn't sound any good. And because there's hundreds of thousands of people, I'm pretty sure, who would have bought Mega Man Legends 3. Several of them that was their only reason for buying a 3DS. So it's not good for anyone involved actually to cancel the game like that, and it's just a stupid, stupid thing for them to have done. And they're getting serious backlash from it. I mean, in the end of the day, it might not matter to them themselves. They're like, who cares about the backlash? We're not going to do anything about it. But it's all very serious, and there are people who I believe that they're going to go through with what they're saying, that they're just done with Capcom. I love Mega Man Legends 2, I never got to play the original one because RN64 got busted, as I said before. But I love the second one, and just thinking of all the things they could have done with the third one, and what they showed off and everything. I mean, the easiest way to put it, there's 2 really easy ways to put it. The first is what tons of the fans are saying, like, wow, Capcom just trolled their entire fan base. I really love that statement in particular. But another, you don't really know what to say when something like this happens. It really sucks. And even more so for people who actually finished Mega Man Legends 2 around the time that it was released, 10 years ago-ish, and have been waiting all this time for any news on the sequel, finally getting the news that there's going to be a third one, and then having it taken away from them. I really feel sorry for those people. So, kind of a somber note, but, Mega Man fans everywhere. As if Mega Man Universe wasn't enough to get canceled for them, they've lost another one. So, really sucks. So anyway, that's all that I got for now, and Fire Emblem Path of Radiance non-reviews coming soon, hopefully, and I'll see you next time.